Hi friends, I'm Umesh. You must be thinking of cutting back on tobacco or quitting it altogether. And to do so, you must be considering of using nicotine chewing gum as a tool. And that particular consideration of yours must have landed you here. Welcome, you have come to the very right place. Here we are going to cover all the bases and yet the discussion is going to be concise and right on point. But before we begin our discussion, I must warn you that you cannot make this decision lightly. Why am I saying so? To explain this point better, I would like to take a reference from a best selling book called Rewire. It has been written by world's renowned psychotherapist Dr. Richard O'Connor. In his book, he says that if you have got a bad habit in your life, say for example procrastination, or even some sort of addiction like tobacco addiction, and you want to get rid of that, and to do so you employ a particular strategy, but unfortunately if that strategy fails, then that failure has certain implication on your psyche. The first implication is it fills you with guilt that okay, I should have done that but I didn't, and that guilt makes you reluctant at further attempts, so it becomes tougher for you to quit that thing after the failure. Second effect it has is it reduces your self esteem, and the direct correlation of that is once the self esteem goes down or is reduced, your capacity to exert authority in situation where you are supposed to is also diminished. So, if you are in a corporate setting or even at your home front where you are supposed to exert authority, you won't be able to do it as efficiently. Hence, because of these two effects, you cannot make this decision lightly that okay, I am using nicotine chewing gum as a tool. If it works, well and good. If it doesn't, no problem, I will move on to something else. It doesn't happen like that. And why? I have explained it. Now, equipped with this knowledge, we will weigh that whether or not you should use nicotine chewing gum as a tool. In this discussion, I'm going to give you the fundamental principle on which nicotine chewing gum is based upon. Also, I'm going to provide you with the data points that is available in the research papers. I'm also going to give you a self test using which you can know by yourself that whether or not this nicotine chewing gum is a useful tool. And at the end, I'm going to give you my honest opinion. So stay because you are going to get a lot of things out of this video. Let's cover the fundamental first. Nicotine chewing gum is a chewing gum that contains nicotine, and nicotine is the addictive molecule present in tobacco. Nicotine chewing gum are used as a tool in a broader methodology called NRT. NRT stands for Nicotine Replacement Therapy. Other tools which are used in nicotine replacement therapy are nicotine patches, lozenges, and nicotine nasal sprays. NRT claims that it helps people in quitting tobacco, and we are going to find out how effective that claim is. NRT believes that there are two challenges which makes quitting tobacco very hard for people. And these two challenges are first, breaking the habit, and second, handling the nicotine withdrawal. And it deals with both of them separately. The first challenge is breaking the habit. NRT believes that an individual has become habitual to a particular form of nicotine delivery system. For example, in case of a smoker, the person is habitual of lighting the cigarette. That has become his habit of lighting the cigarette to get his dose of nicotine. NRT proposes to break that habit by providing an alternate method of nicotine delivery system. In case of a smoker, he is advised to take nicotine chewing gums instead of lighting the cigarette. So, in theory, the habit is broken down. What about in reality? We'll uncover that soon. Now, having dealt with the first part of the challenge of breaking the habit, NRT focuses its attention on the second part of the challenge, which is of handling the nicotine withdrawal. Now, since only the nicotine delivery system has been changed, in our case, from cigarette to nicotine chewing gum, hence the concentration of nicotine in blood does not fall down. So the person does not faces severe nicotine withdrawal symptom like nervousness, irritation, agitation, etc. NRT now proposes or recommends that the person should slowly wean off from the nicotine chewing gums, and it believes that weaning off of those chewing gums is comparatively easy because the person has not become habitual to taking those chewing gums. The approach does seem very logical. Of course, if there are two challenges involved in quitting tobacco, then it is advisable to handle them separately. Why? Because it would be easier. But herein lies the problem. These challenges have not been defined properly by NRT. For example, the first challenge says to break the habit, but any form of nicotine consumption is not an habit, it is purely an addiction. And how you get rid of addiction? When you stop supplying the addictive molecule, nicotine in our case. For example, if there is an addict, heroin addict, and he is in the habit of injecting himself the drug, but one day he claims that okay, from now onwards I'm going to be on the straight path, I'm going to make changes in my life, and from that day onwards, instead of injecting himself, he begins to snort the heroin. Then do you think he is on the right path? See, everybody is trying to capitalize on your addiction, be it big tobacco or be it big pharma. They don't want you to get rid of your addiction because the longer you stay in the trap, heavier their coffers become. As for the second part of the challenge, the claim that it is easy to wean off of nicotine chewing gum is not right, is not correct. Reason, that if the supply of nicotine is not completely cut off, your addiction is alive. And there is one foundational principle which is true for all form of addiction, and that principle states that with time you would want more of the addictive molecule, not less. Why? Because with time the body of an addict gets tolerance to the current daily dose of the addictive molecule. So in order to have the desired effect, the addict now has to up the dose. Hence, this claim that with time it would be easy for an individual to wean off of nicotine chewing gum is not true, because with time he would want more of those chewing gums and not less. What happens in most of the cases is, since the addiction is alive, the individual fall back to his old delivery method. There are some success stories associated with nicotine chewing gum, but those individuals were able to get rid of tobacco not because of nicotine chewing gums, but rather in spite of it. At some particular point of time, they decided that they don't want to manipulate the daily dosing of nicotine chewing gum, and they cut it off completely. It is then when they got free. Now let's talk about stats. Whatever we have discussed, let's see what the research paper and the information on the internet says about it. See, first, according to a Gallup poll, only 1% of the successful tobacco quitters have credited nicotine chewing gum for their quit. Just 1%. Another study titled Nicotine Replacement Therapy for Smoking Cessation, it says that 1 in 15 was helped successfully in quitting smoking using NRT methods. So 1 in 15, this amounts to less than 7%. In 2020, even the America's Surgeon General has acknowledged that most smokers who quit successfully do so without any medication. Now, I would like to quote from ACTC website, which stands for Advanced Cancer Treatment Center, Florida. It says that nicotine chewing gum also has certain undesirable effects. These nicotine chewing gums have common side effects, have severe side effects, and have long-term effects. In common side effect, the website says heightened blood pressure, increased heart rate, dizziness, irritability, loss of appetite, heartburn, nausea, vomiting, cough, gas, sore throat, and oral irritation. The severe side effects include increase in stomach problem, sleep deprivation, premature hair loss, and nicotine chewing gum addiction itself. So the cure itself has become an addiction in some cases. And fifth is increased oral cancer risk. Now, to be fair, there is some new research which debunks this point, but do we really need to take that risk? Then the website goes on and lists long term effects of nicotine chewing gum. And what are they? The first one is insulin resistance. Second one is metabolic abnormalities due to insulin resistant syndrome. And the third one is a rise in cardiovascular morbidity. So these are the side effects, these are the problems which are associated with nicotine chewing gums. Also, friends, if you go and try to research on your own, then you will find that most of the research paper are in support of the NRT tools. And why is that? My thinking says that because most of the research papers are being funded by the big pharma, therefore they support that thing in spite of the fact that their result is below average. Now, I can provide you with a tool using which you yourself can judge whether my talking points are right or whether those research papers are true. And to do so, you can do one little experiment, a research of your own, you might say. You can go out and you can talk to ex smokers who have been able to quit successfully for more than a year. Talk to at least 10 such people, and you will come to realize that none of them, or at the most, just only one or two, would credit their quit to nicotine chewing gums or any sort of NRT for that matter. And that will be the biggest proof that you can have. Don't believe me, don't believe on the research paper, but believe on your own findings. From the discussion of this video and from your own research, you must have realized one simple truth, that you should not choose a difficult path to get rid of your tobacco addiction. Rather, you should choose a path whose success ratio is quite high. I can help you with that. My standing is I'm a trained chemist from Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, which is one of the most premier institute of my country. I understand chemicals, I understand their chemistry, and more than that, I have helped thousands of tobacco addicts to get rid of their tobacco addiction successfully. You know, till date, the method with the best possible success rate is still cold turkey, where you completely shut down the supply of nicotine. You know which is a better method? Smart turkey or intelligent turkey. I can provide you with that smartness, with that intelligence, by virtue of which your quit will not only become easy but also quite fun and enjoyable. All you have to do is subscribe to my channel so that you get the content as soon as they arrive. Finally, become smarter, know about your enemy, and then you will be able to defeat it very easily. I'll be seeing you very soon in my videos with lot of valuable content. Till then, take very good care of yourself. Thank you.